Welcome everyone. When I'm waiting for another riders, another participants are joining, I will start with the introduction with the short agenda. We will describe what is waiting for you for the upcoming hour. I would start with myself. My name is Ola. I will be moderating today's info session. I am responsible for admin-related questions in TDA Global Cycling, and today we will try to cover all your questions regarding our tours. So we will introduce you to our calendar. We'll do our best to answer all your questions. If you already have some of them, you may see it should be the bar on the top of your screen. It says Q&A. Please make sure to leave your questions there, and we will have a separate time for addressing all of your questions. So today with me, the headquarters of TDA Global Cycling, the brain of everything that happens besides our tours, in organization and promoting and making sure our tours run smoothly. So please meet Shani Hill, our marketing manager, Michael Koo,
Hello.
customer support manager, the first point of contact you're gonna reach out if you have any tour related questions, and our operations manager from Victoria, BC, Miles McDonald. We already have the first question in the chat. Oh, hello from Madrid, Shani. Jezabel
Hello.
is writing to you. Hello, everyone. And we expect our info session lasts for 1 hour roughly, but we won't leave until all the questions are answered. However, if you need to leave, that's also fine. We have your emails, and even though you attend this info session, this live, or you can't do this due to your reasons, we will send you the recording of our info session so you can watch it later. And we'll also, in the end of the info session, we will share our contact information where you can email us and ask any questions that might have been left after this live. So let's go, guys, and please don't forget to leave your questions in the Q&A bar. So we will present the tours that will be happening on the 2 upcoming years, and I will pass it over to our operations manager, Miles.
Hi, everyone. Yes. Yeah, so you can see our tour calendar there for 2026. And this this shows all the different trips we're running in the year. And this info session is a great time to let us know any questions about any of the specific trips that you see on there during the Q&A. We're happy to answer any detailed questions which you may have. And for the moment, I'll just give like a general overview of the tour types. So, and you can see that how they're color coded there. To start with the touring type tours. So those are the trips that are colored green there, and these are the trips that are mostly in Europe or Japan, for instance. These are going to be the most comfort-oriented trips of the trips that we organize. All hotels, the hotels' consistency during these tours is fairly equal throughout due to kind of the regions that we're traveling and the sort of economic realities in these countries. So 3 to 4 star type hotels. They're going to be all restaurant meals when we're eating together as a group. These trips, the road surfaces are going to be almost entirely paved. Definitely, bits of gravel or dirt here or there, maybe some rough bike paths, but these are mostly paved cycling routes. And the length of these tours varies from about 5 weeks to 7 weeks in general, in terms of yeah, the length of the trips, and then the average cycling day is going to be about anywhere from about 80 kilometers to 110 kilometers per day on the touring type trips. And so those are, yeah, the touring ones. And then and in terms of, there's the adventure type trips. So these are colored in blue on the calendar. And these are trips that are going to be in, places that are a bit more foreign to Western eyes. So say in Morocco, for instance, or India or Sri Lanka, or maybe Southeast Asia. There's still, almost all of those trips are all hotels. There's actually only one adventure trip, which is the Morocco tour, which also involves camping, but otherwise it's all hotels. And you're gonna say, compared to the touring type trips, you're gonna have a little bit more variability in the hotel styles, because we're, especially in the more remote regions of some of these trips, the economic realities are not what they are in the larger cities of those regions. And so the hotel variability uh, is going to be higher. So some more rustic, simple type places, and then some nicer type places on the rest days. You're going to have a little bit more gravel, let's say, or dirt, a little bit more variability in road conditions. However, still the vast majority of those trips is on paved roads. And in general, due to the regions and countries, there's going to be a little bit more unpredictability, like especially in the parts of the routes where tourism is not as common, or travel is not as frequent. And so that unpredictability may, cause some minor changes some days, or some unexpected occurrences. And that, you could kind of draw a line to that, to being the adventure element of those tours. That's kind of part of what that is all about, facing a little bit on more unknowns. And that brings us to the expedition type trips. So those are in kind of purple there. And these are the largest endeavors that we organize, the sort of transcontinental type concept, which we started with back in 2003 with the Tour d'Afrique. And so these trips are kind of life experiences that encompass a bit of everything, the most variety in terrain, geography, culture, road conditions, weather, um, you know, crossing deserts and mountains, and many borders. There's all sorts of adventures and experiences on these tours. And also they do involve much more camping. So, for some people, you're going to be out of your comfort zone more at times on a trip like these. And one could say one of the beauties of these big expedition type trips is that kind of team experience, traveling through both hardships and joys, and experiencing all those together over multiple months. And an average length of these tours is about anywhere from just over 2 months to 5.5 months, which is the South American epic that you see there. Um, and yeah, average distance wise per day for those trips is usually going to be about 110 to 120 kilometers approximately per day. And yeah, to add, the all of these trips in the 26 calendar, and then the 27 one that we'll look at shortly, are offered as full tours, so you can cycle the entire tour, but they're also broken down into sections. So I mean, just to give an example, say South American Epic is a 5.5 month tour, and many people will sign up for that entire length, but definitely it's not an option for everyone. So sometimes people will do like one section, which say could be Bogota, Colombia to Quito, Ecuador, for example. So that would be one section that someone could join for, which is about maybe 3 weeks, and or you could do multiple sections. So there's a lot of options that can be investigated through the website there on each tour page. Just to give you also a note about this 26 calendar, there are a few tours which are already sold out essentially. So that would be Journey to the East, the Pub Ride, and Road to Valhalla. But all of the other tours on there do have availability in terms of registering. And another note is that not every tour is run every year. So we tend to run most of the tours every other year. And then some of the expedition tours are run every 3 years. So, but you can also see that through the tour calendar. And yes, thanks, Ola. The 2027 calendar is there, and so yeah, those tour type categories are all the same for that, and for sure, if there's any trips in the 27 year, you can also you can also ask us about those. And some of those trips, even in 27, are getting close to sold out. For example, parts of the Silk Route are already full, but there's a waiting list that you can join for those parts. But the full tour actually still has space. Yeah, and some of the other trips are getting full, so it's definitely good to plan ahead where possible for registering. But yeah, many of the, if not most of the trips have availability.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that on our YouTube channel, you can already watch a South American epic documentary film that we posted, I think, 6 months ago, but already had the amazing screen viewing in both Toronto and Victoria. And this is a very good way to understand what our expedition tours are all about. So lots of good feedback from the riders and from our crew. And this is the favorite slide for Michael, right, Mike?
Sure. Okay, this is your first step. Once you decide to join a tour, you can just go online to the website to register, select the tour that you're interested in. Each tour requires that you pay online with a credit card, a US dollar 250 registration fee. That fee is non-transferable, non-refundable, and in addition to the entry fee, but it does hold your spot until the start of your tour, and that the entry fee would be due 90 days before the start of either the full tour or whatever section that you happen to be doing. Once you are registered, you'll have access to an online account, your own private online account, and in that account, in the time leading up to the tour, we post a series of rider bulletins that cover all aspects of the tour, like visas, packing, everything what kind of bike to bring, all sorts of information like that. And for each tour, we also hold an individual info session, just like this one, but specifically for the particular tour that you're interested in. You can check our terms and conditions. You can email us if you want to find out about the cancellation policies. They're pretty straightforward. A couple other things I can tell you about is that there are entry fees for the full tour. As Miles mentioned, you can also do sections. If you do 2 or more sections, then there is a 10% multi-section discount available to you. Also, for the full tour riders, for most tours, almost all the tours, there's an early bird discount that's offered if you pay for the full tour entry fee more than 6 months ahead of the tour. And finally, if you do a second tour with us, you'll qualify for our very generous alumni discount program. So it goes 5% for your second tour, 6% for your third, and on up to a maximum of 10%. The other thing mentioned on this slide is travel insurance. So you're required to have adequate medical insurance in case you're injured and you need to be repatriated from the tour. And we also strongly suggest that you look into cancellation or trip interruption insurance when you decide to join us, just to protect yourself against unexpected events. That's about it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that together with a registration fee, you receive a voucher for free t-shirt that I very love wearing. It's cozy and you can pick your own color to your liking. It's in addition to the jersey that you'll receive when you complete the tour, which is cycling.
Right, I forgot about that.
Oh, that's important. I love them. Okay. Shani, would you like to step in?
Sure, this slide is just a screenshot of the homepage of our website. So we wanted to highlight a couple pages that you may not be aware of. So from the Experience tab at the very top, there'll be a drop-down menu, and you could click on the How to Prepare or the TDA Starter Kit. And these are both pages with in-depth information. If you're sort of getting close to that point where you're thinking about registering, there's some really, really valuable information in there. But of course, you can also reach out to us anytime. Michael's happy to respond to an email or have a phone call and discuss things with you. The calendar that you saw a few slides ago, it's not highlighted here, but under the tours main tab, you'll see a link to our tour calendar as well. And that's another great planning tool to sort of visualize, times of the year that you might be available for a tour. That's it. Ola, you can move on.
So this is the time for you to ask your questions, and I will probably start with those questions that were sent to us beforehand. We will start with them, and you already see some of questions adding here on the tab, but feel free to add more. We love answering your questions. So I'll start. And sorry if I will pronounce your name not correctly. I'm doing my best. Grets de Beck. I'm 52-year-old woman, able to run easily 12 kilometers. Did a lot of cycle holidays during my life with a very good gravel bike, but I never cycled more than 30 days in a row. I'm not sure if I will be able to join the TDA cycle tour. Are there tour riders of my age anyway?
Who wants to answer? Michael, do you want to field that one?
Sure, yeah, that's a pretty easy one. At 52, you're going to be probably on the younger age of the people you're going to meet on the tours. We do have people anywhere from 18 up until the late 70s, but generally the ages skew around 60s, mid 60s. So at 52, you'll certainly be a youngster on tour, and it sounds like you're in great shape, so shouldn't have any problems cycling more than 30 days.
And I'll just add that, very few people have cycled 30 days straight. So it's very common. If you can get into the routine of cycling a few days in a row, you can repeat that again and again. So it's more just about the mental toughness of getting up and doing it every day. But what we're offering here is something a bit different. And so, you're not alone in thinking that cycling over 30 days is uncharted territory for you.
I just wanted to add that after cycling 3-4 days, we have at least one rest day. So this is the time to reset, to have a good rest, to see the city. So it's not like 30 days in a row. So it's going to be a good reset. And sometimes it's 2 days of a rest. John Hecht. The Journey to the East tour has 5 travel days listed. What are the logistics for transporting bikes during these 5 travel days? And do we need to put them into bike boxes 5 times during the tour?
Yeah,
Miles,
I can
would you like to?
answer.
Yeah, thanks.
Sure. Yeah, so there is a flight from Busan, Korea to Fukuoka, Japan. And so for that one, we do provide the bicycle boxes, and you will be packing your bicycle in the cardboard bike box for that transit with our staff assistance for packing, and then also for unpacking in Fukuoka. The other transfers on that tour are arranged. All the logistics are arranged by ourselves, and we hire a local Japanese truck service that comes very much on schedule, and we load all of the bicycles and then have them with extra padding, and they're safe in that truck, and they're transported to the point where you need them next, and then unloaded. So there's no packing in terms of cardboard bike boxes or anything for those transfers. And then we also deal with the logistics of the transporting you, of course, to the next point as well.
Thank you, Miles. Sophie's asking, I'm booked for the Silk Road Route 2027. My main question is, do you have a suggested training plan so I can ensure I am well prepared? Oh, this is a good question. A lot of people ask us about the training.
Yeah, I can take a turn, and if you guys want to jump in afterwards. Yeah, we'll be honest, we've struggled with this one. I think because everyone, in our experience, everyone kind of trains and prepares differently. So we don't have a set training schedule that we share with clients. We'll make a note, and when we send out the video, we'll send a link to some blogs we have written on this topic. But my general advice is to do some training, to get on your bike and to try to make it more a part of your day-to-day routine in the months, and especially in the few weeks before the start. Cross training of some type is great. So if you're a gym person and you want to do some cardio in the gym, that's great. If you're more of someone who just prefers to be out on the road and biking, then do that, and try to at least do a few days where you're doing a full day, like the majority of the day on the bike, where you're kind of free, and you don't have a lot of obligations otherwise, so that you can, not so much for the training, but just to sort of work out some of the bugs in your system. Like maybe you need a different seat, or maybe your positioning on your bike needs some adjustment, or maybe you need a different bag to carry your tools, things like that. You just want to work out some of those bugs before you come on the tour. So I hope that's relatively helpful. I know it's not exactly a clear training plan, but I think the key is just to be really increasing your activity in the lead up to the trip.
Yeah, thank you, Shani.
Yeah.
There's good. Oh, Michael, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that pretty much as long as, having done this tour once myself way back when, people, as long as you're in good shape when you arrive and start cycling during the tour in the days, people are quite surprised at how quickly they get used to it, and how comfortable they become in just a few days of cycling. So I wouldn't overthink it at the beginning. Sure, make sure that you're in good shape and that you're willing to spend many hours on the bike, which is the main requirement.
Yeah, I have something to add also coming to my mind, that when we interview our riders during the tour, a lot of them keep saying that you don't know what your body is capable of. You were coming thinking that you're not ready for that, but in the end of the day, yeah, you're adjust to the pace that we have. All right. Question from Philip: how much mechanical bike repair experience is needed?
I can take a turn there. The key things as a participant on the tour are to be able to fix a flat tire on the road. Each person is cycling their own pace during the day, and so people can be spread out. They may be cycling with other participants, or we also have one sweep cyclist who is a staff person who's cycling behind the last person on the road. But you need to be independent to fix your own flat and have the tire levers and frame pump with you to do so. And then also knowing how to clean your drivetrain, just the basics of keeping that clean, because that's going to just be preventative maintenance that helps reduce issues that you'll face on tour. Minor gear or brake adjustments that you could do on the road if something is not quite working is a plus. But at the same time, definitely, our bicycle mechanic, who we have one on every tour we run, is going to be helping you with anything, you know, once you're at the hotel or at the camp. So those any larger problems or issues they are gonna help you with, and they yeah, but they do appreciate it if you bring your bike clean. So that's another sort of reason for knowing kind of how to clean your drivetrain during the tour and your bike in general.
Yeah, thank you, Miles. So I'm jumping into the Q&A bar, answering your questions. The first question was from Kevin Guyan. Is a carbon frame gravel bike with hydraulic brakes too fragile for overseas transportation and touring? Miles?
Yeah, well, so it's I guess we have a long history with carbon and like it's something that we you know have not promoted as the best choice for many of our tours due to the exact reasons that you mentioned, that there is a extra, you know, fragility there and the chance of a frame you know, cracking being a more of a, you know, potential outcome than say a steel frame or aluminum or whatnot. At the same time, you know, many of our cyclists do end up bringing, you know, bikes that have a carbon frame or fork or both, and for the vast, you know, for the majority that has gone okay for them. But yeah, there just is a higher risk involved there. You know, we also just generally encourage people not to bring overly extravagantly expensive bicycles. You know, the bicycles are going to be, yeah, perhaps transported times. There's very rough road conditions. There's, you know, there can be susceptibility to nicks or scrapes. Like it's something to keep in mind with your bike choice too. We do have, I mean, in our on our website a blog about choosing a bike for the tour, which is also very helpful and goes into a lot of detail. We can share that, and then for registered riders on the tours, there's also an information bulletin about your specific tour and bike choice recommendations for those tours too.
Yep, thank you, Miles. Question from Petra Spitz. What additional costs should I consider beyond the tour, flight, and insurance?
Sure, I can take that one if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
Depends a lot on your own personal spending habits, but essentially, if it's a camping tour, tent, a camping mattress, a sleeping bag, vaccinations, if you opt for them for wherever you're traveling, any costs for entry visas, souvenirs. You might buy gratuities for the field staff at the end of the trip, any spare parts or accessories along the way that you might purchase, any tours that you take on rest days. Also on our tours, we provide most of the meals, but dinner before a rest day and meals on rest days are not included. So those would be an additional cost as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that entry fee covers just one night before the tour. So if you want to arrive earlier, which a lot of riders prefer, you also should take care of the previous nights in the hotel. And usually when you book a tour, you can get in touch with Michael. He will provide you information of the hotel, and in some European tours we have an agent who can also help you to book your extra nights before or after the tour in the hotel that we're staying in.
I would just add too that some of the tours have a mid-tour flight. So the Tour d'Afrique, for example, we have to fly from Egypt to East Africa. So that is that's always, if there's an extra like a mid-tour flight involved in the tour that's not included, we'll note that next to the pricing details on the webpage, so you can check that out. And then once you're registered, we give you details on the costs and the arrangements for that mid-tour flight.
Yeah, good addition. Thank you, Shani. Anne O'Hanlon asking, could you talk about varying cycling levels and speeds and how you cope with the varying skill sets on a trip? Also good a question, right, guys?
Yeah. Do you want me to take a turn? So yes, so just like someone had asked about the age range, we also have a really wide range of abilities. So we don't really set a minimum fitness level for our tours. We just try to really educate you guys on what to expect. We have downloadable schedules that tell you the day's distance and the amount of gravel and paved roads and the amount of climbing. So that helps you guys prepare. But once you're on the tour, you know, if you're used to cycling at a slower pace, let's say 15 kilometers an hour average on varying terrain, that's fine. And if you're someone who's very fast and very fit and likes to get as quickly as they can from point A to point B and does 30 kilometers an hour, that's also fine. So the way the system works is that everyone rides at their own speed. Within the daylight hours, we don't let anyone ride before sunrise or after sunset. And then we have one of our staff that's always riding as the sweep rider. So they're the very last rider in the group, and they're there in case anyone runs into some problems or has a question or, you know, has any issues. Then we have a mid-ride roadside lunch, which is another checkpoint for us to do attendance and make sure everyone, excuse me, has come through lunch. And so we have this framework of support, but we're not corralling you. We're not all riding as a group, and everyone gets to experience the day how they want to do it. You know, whether they're riding with some of their fellow riders or they're riding solo. That's up to them.
Exactly. And I think I will be referring to our riders a lot here, but the best saying which I heard was, it's not a race, guys. You just enjoy your ride within the daylight, as Shani mentioned. So Bryce, well, Bryce, your name seems familiar to me. I think you registered to some of our tours. I'm interested to do the Africa crossing in early 27, but I'm concerned it may be too challenging for me. How many people have completed the previous time this tour took place, and how many had to abandon?
Yeah, I can help with that one. I think, I mean, very similar to what Shani was just describing too, in terms of, and Michael earlier about the, yeah, many different people from different backgrounds and different cycling strengths, and so and yet all are able to you know, be supported on these trips to be able to complete the tours, and the Tour d'Afrique is very much the same. So you have, you know, I think the on an average year, you might, between the full tour riders and sectional riders, there might be, say, approximately 50 different cyclists, and pretty much the only you know, cyclists that may go home earlier, it's because they you know, they injured themselves. Maybe they fell and were hurt, or maybe they had an illness or a family issue at home that you know, had to bring them home. Luckily, that's not common, but I mean, those are the reasons that someone would go home. It's extremely rare that someone has gone home because they weren't feeling that they could, you know, get to Cape Town in this instance. As you know, there really is a lot of support and ability to do a half cycling day sometimes, or take a day off, or even, you know, rest for 2 days and rejoin. But in general, yeah, people find they just get stronger throughout the tour, and once you're heading, you know, in the direction of the finish, I mean, there's a high motivation to yeah, keep cycling and enjoy and experience and be on the trip.
Yeah,
Thank you, Miles.
well said. And I would just add, like, you're really, really well supported. We hire really excellent, talented crew on our expeditions. There's a medic in case, you know, people are ill. We always have a bike mechanic. So there's a lot of people there to support your ride.
Julie is asking, how do you manage things like showers on the TDA? Can people take any opportunities to stay in other lodging that might be available during the tour? Maybe staying for an extra day in some places.
I can do that one. And how, cleaning oneself is going to vary depending on where we are during the tour. If we are in what we call like a bush camp, which is essentially a camp with no facilities, where we're maybe camped, in a desert environment or wherever it may be, then the tour leader is going to explain sort of the process of what we call like a bottle shower. So usually between wet wipes and then using water from your water bottles, you can really clean yourself very well. And a lot of information is shared by the tour leader to give you ideas on the how to. And then there's also quite a fair number of organized camps during the Tour d'Afrique. So these are camps that are going to have, at times very basic facilities, at other times more in Southern Africa, quite well-to-do type facilities, but there'd be an ability to have a more normal shower in these places. And then as well, the rest of the cities have the ability to shower in the campsites we use there too on the Tour d'Afrique. And definitely, yeah, many people do try to upgrade to like indoor accommodation during the tour when available. Some of our campsites have that as an option. So they will do that. That's something that's completely separate from the tour entry fee. People just they pay whatever the cost of those rooms is separately. But it can be something nice to do at least a few times during the tour, just to take a break from camping potentially. But many people do camp the whole tour also.
Yeah, and I'd just add that, on all of our trips that involve camping, Miles, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say like for bush camps where there's no facilities, we probably don't have any stretches of that, like more than 3 or maybe 4 days in a row, would you say, Miles? Like usually they're kind of spread out amongst other more organized camps.
Yeah, they're a minority for sure. Like, and even the Tour d'Afrique, I mean, it's over the whole course of the tour, maybe there's like 7 or 8 camps like that. So it is, it's a minority for sure, and not very many in a row either.
Yes, guys. Michael, the next question will be for you. Concerning
Sure.
TDA, is it correct that you will care about all visa and paper stuff?
If you're referring to visas for the individual countries, we provide information on how to obtain them. The responsibility is the riders to get the actual visas, but we will tell you what the restrictions are, what the conditions are. If you need supporting documentation, we will provide that too. But essentially, it's up to the riders to obtain the visas. But we do provide a rider bulletin detailing what you need to do to get them for each country along the way.
Yeah, and in general, I just add that compared to say 15 years ago, things are overall a lot easier nowadays. There's a lot more e-visas, meaning you don't need to send your passport to the local embassy. You can do it online. There's a lot more countries that have eliminated their tourist visas. For example, the Silk Route is enormously easier than it was a long time ago. So yeah, but we do, yeah, as Michael said, give a lot of information to help you there.
Yeah, thank you. How is laundry generally handled? I'll be doing the Morocco tour next month, so I'm curious for that specific one, but also generally for other tours. Staying clean is not always easy in remote places, yet feels so important still. 100% important.
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, it's very important, and the tour leaders will always stress too that you should always be wearing like clean riding shorts to prevent any infections and things like that. So laundry, It's a mixture. So on the Morocco tour, you have hotels and camping, so it's a mix. So often the riders will try to do as much of their laundry as they can when we're staying in hotels on the rest days and dry their clothes and get them ready for the riding week ahead. If there are times on the camping nights where you need to wash your clothes, it's a mixture. Maybe Miles, you can help me with this too, but sometimes it's not possible if we're providing the water, like if we have water limitations, from our tanks on our vehicles. Other times, if it's an organized camp and there's sinks and things like that, then for sure that would be possible. You'd want to sort of keep a small supply of some laundry powder in your bags just to be prepared to do that from time to time. Miles, any other
Yeah.
thoughts specifically for Morocco?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as you said, I think there are even a few like cycling day hotels as well in Morocco. So I think for that trip, the ability to wash your clothes in the hotels, either doing yourself and hanging, outside your room, or asking the hotel if they can, do your laundry for a fee, but that possibility is there. And then in terms of the camps, basically like those sort of bush camps with no facilities, those would be places where no, having the water to do your laundry is unlikely in those camps. But yeah, actually the majority of the camps are organized camps where there is running water, and so we have some empty buckets, which essentially we are laundry buckets that people can use, and with their own small bag of laundry soap they have, and then bringing bringing a rope that you can use to hang your laundry for camping type tours or even hotel tours is a good idea as well.
Yeah, thank you guys. Haven't spent a lot of time in some of the countries on these trips. I'm concerned about road traffic accidents. How do you manage that, and what is the rate of accidents, injuries that you have?
Mm-hmm. Well, I could start. Um, I don't know what the rate is. It's very low. Like we try to choose. It's the top priority for us whenever we're scouting a new route is to try to find the quietest roads, even above the most pleasant roads. So sometimes it does mean we're on rough or gravel roads or hillier roads, but if we can avoid the traffic, we always choose to. But of course, like we're covering big distances, and there are times when we're on the main road because that's the only option. And so there are times when it's busier and you have to ride much more defensively and single file and those sorts of things. For any particular stages where it's deemed by the trip leader that it's become too dangerous, of course, they just take everyone off the road and bus people ahead when necessary. Or if it's a situation where it's busier than normal and there's some particular hazards, the tour leader might give you specific instructions about how you should ride that day. What else can we say about that, Michael or Miles?
Yeah, well, I mean, just in general, in terms of road safety, yeah, as Shani mentioned, I mean, it's in general, safety is the top priority for sure. And then there is information pre-tour just with advice for staying safe on the road, and including, busier roads at times in terms of visibility, high vis clothing, awareness, so like a helmet, mirror, and in terms of defensive riding, and even having, stronger, wider tires so that you're not worried about getting a flat riding closer to the edge of the road. Like there's all sorts of steps that are part of that process to stay safer, and then including, as Shani mentioned, like ourselves scouting and finding the quietest roads possible. But yeah, there are definitely days with heavier traffic, or more what, to perhaps in parts of the Western world feels like very hectic traffic, and those are um we have found that sometimes the local drivers in these environments, where things are a bit more hectic, are also drive a bit differently than say in the West where people can be a bit kind of brain off and just focused on wherever they're going, where drivers in some different environments tend to be a bit more aware as well and used to say cyclists on the road or a donkey on the road or whatever it may be. So in general, like there are risks but it's been, through all these years the routes and the roads, the vast majority of people, feel comfortable in the end, and some are enjoyed. Some days are enjoyed more by, than others for sure in all different capacities. And there's always an element of, taking your own safety, in your hands as well. So like, if there's a day where you're cycling and the traffic is too much for you or it's uncomfortable, our advice is always pull over, stop. I mean, our vehicles come by, we can pick you up. You're not in a situation where you're absolutely forced to ride on a road that is beyond your comfort zone as well.
Yeah, thank you, Miles. Craig is asking, if signing up as a single, how are roommates assigned? It could be a long trip if roommates are not compatible. Michael, would you like to cover this question?
Sure. Yeah, when you initially register, you receive a reply from us, and you have the opportunity to request a specific roommate. Some people are coming as couples, some people are coming as friends. So if you request a specific roommate, we'll put you in the room with them. If not, we pair you up by gender randomly, essentially. And if you are concerned about your roommate on the trip itself, then you can always speak to the tour leader, and the tour leader will do their best to address the issue. But essentially, over the years, people have become close friends just by being roommates on the tours, and getting to meet somebody else from a different part of the world is part of the experience. And one of the things about TDA tours is that people do create these lifelong biking companion friendships. So it's pretty amazing. So like I say, we do it randomly, and then if there are any issues, you just talk to the tour leader and they'll do their best to address any issues.
Yeah, and I would just add, we have a good blog on this too we can send you. But I think having like roommate who's a complete stranger is another way that we take people out of their comfort zones a little bit. Like how often do we do that in our adult lives and share rooms like that? So, it's sort of a unique quirk of our tours that we try to get as many people on the trip as possible. So we don't really highlight the option for single supplements. Sometimes that is possible when there's enough rooms available, but for the most part, people are sharing rooms, and like Michael said, it usually works out.
This is done. And this is done. Do you offer bike rental options? The short answer is no. The longer will be covered by some of you.
I think the best is to contact us if any particular tour, that's your consideration. It's very uncommon on our trips that's possible, and we don't ever rent bikes on any of our trips, but there are, a few. We'll say like a trip like the Viva Italia, where it begins in Rome and it finishes in Rome. And if you're doing the full tour, there are bike rental companies in Rome. And so then we could at least, give you a bit of information about a potential place to rent a bike from for the trip. So yeah, it's always worth reaching out to us with the question, but because of the nature of our tours being, point A to point B very far away, there's not really many local bike rental establishments that are able to rent for that type of trip.
And a lot of people ask this because they've never traveled with a bike either, which is understandable. We also have some good blogs about that. I think, it's a hurdle to coming on these tours. It's something you have to plan for, but it's, once you've done it once, it's really not much of a hassle, and it becomes another piece of luggage that gets loaded on the plane. So, if that's something that was holding you back, it might be something to reconsider and read through some of our material about that.
Thanks, Jenny. Rutger is asking, how many participants is the max for the African full tour? Miles?
Yeah, I mean, it varies a bit because it's not like it's not a concrete number because we adjust our resources, based on the group size. So, a certain group size, there's uh, I mean, a very small group could be, one truck and two 4x4s. A more sort of average size group is going to be maybe two trucks and a 4x4. Another one is, two trucks and two 4x4s. And then, I mean, it could be 7 staff, it could be 12 staff. So there's that sort of resource variability depending on the group size. But yeah, the average group sizes are, I would say for the Tour d'Afrique, are anywhere from about 25 cyclists on the tour at one time to about 45 40. I mean, that's been about the max for the last many years. So that would be the range, and it's quite, yeah, it varies year to year. I think currently on this Tour d'Afrique there are about 35, 37 riders, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks, Miles. Peter's asking, I'm interested in the Orient Express. I have a good trekking bike, but not gravel bike. Is that adequate? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, that would be a good one where you could email us and tell us the specific model so we could give you some advice. But if you mean like a touring bike or something like that with wider tires, it sounds great. Gravel bikes are a newer thing for the past 10 years or so that also work very well. I think for us that it boils down to a bike that has a lot of versatility. So you want to have a frame that accommodates wide tires so that you don't want to be on like skinny road bike tires. You want to have tires that you'd be comfortable if you were on a gravel road or a dirt trail or on a paved road or a potholed paved road. You want to be ready for anything that comes your way. And then the other big thing is gearing. So some touring bikes, some gravel bikes as well, may be a little bit limiting in terms of the gear range. So you want to try to have as big of a gear range as you can get on that bike so that you can easily climb up steep hills and have some good speed going down the other side of them.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Oh, I'm going to Orient Express this year, so Peter, join us. Daryl is asking, do any riders bring bikes with electronic shifting, or is charging for a bike and other devices an issue?
Yeah, it's tour dependent. So something like the Tour d'Afrique, for example, would be, much more difficult where we're camping all the time. And there is access to electricity, at least every few days. There's stretches where it's every day too. But that would be a more challenging environment for charging. And also just, if something stops working or that is electronic oriented that our mechanic is unable to fix, it's going to be very, difficult to fix that locally. So it's something to consider. I think we see it a bit more often now, on our European type trips or on our, trip in Japan, and yeah, where you're able to, if it's a detachable battery, then you can charge it in your hotel room, any night. If it's not a detachable battery, then that's something to take into consideration because not all the places where the bikes are parked overnight are going to have access to a plug. So I think we do, mention in our packing bulletin actually that people should bring an external battery to be able to charge their electronic shifting at hotels where it's not possible to remove, charge your bike directly. So yeah, it has been done. People have had it on the touring type trips, especially, and just that charging consideration to take into account.
Second question on the Orient Express. I noted that the third and fourth sections have some very high climbs. Not sure how I can cope. I was thinking to initially book sections 1 and 2 and see how I fare there, and if all works well, then book an extension for sections 3 and 4. Is that reasonable?
Oh, I can answer that one, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's great that you're interested, and if you did do the entire tour, by the time you got to sections 3 and 4 with the climbs, you'd probably be in great shape, and it wouldn't be such an issue. But the plan, the idea of just booking a couple sections and then trying to extend them while on tour is not really feasible. Some of the expedition tours, perhaps, but the hotel tours are limited by the number of rooms that we've booked. And Europe in the summer, of course, is very popular. So it would be almost impossible to book an additional room for you at that time, at that late stage. So essentially, you should sign up for the whole trip, I believe.
Or do the tour in chunks. Some people, for example, even especially for Tour d'Afrique, they stretch out the whole tour in different years. So they book first 2 sections, doing in 2025, and we have some riders that finished the whole Tour d'Afrique in couple of years, couple of trips. It can be.
Yeah, and then the other thing I was going to mention is that yeah, we have support, right? So if you are finding the climbs too difficult, you could get a lift for half of a stage in our vans, or a full stage even. But like Michael said, I think by the time you get there, you're going to be in much better shape than you might imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Bryce is asking again about Tour d'Afrique. I still don't know how many people had to abandon on the last Tour d'Afrique and why, injuries, etc. Could this be clarified? I'm basically trying to determine the odds of myself getting ill or accident, and whether those odds are reasonable for myself.
Yeah, I mean, to like, I'd have to remember just checking our participant spreadsheet, but say I mean, say on average, if there's between full tour and sectional riders, let's say 50 different people riding the tour, probably an average is 2 or 3 people who have gone home due to yeah, injuring themselves or illness. So it does happen over the course of 3 months or 3.5 months. But yeah, it's still overall uncommon. And that's, something where, as Shani mentioned and Michael mentioned, the travel insurance, is part of the equation, because, things can happen. They can, happen anywhere, of course. And so having that trip cancellation and trip interruption insurance is something that we advise, because not only is it going to cover you for your medical expenses, on the ground and getting back home, but it also, if you have that interruption insurance, then it's also going to potentially cover some of the entry fee for the unused portion of the tour. So that's definitely something to look into with insurance that we talk about in the bulletins before the tour as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miles.
And Bryce, maybe if you still had some thoughts on that, feel free to reach out to us. We could happy to discuss that further.
Yeah, Gila's asking, will this session be available to watch afterwards? I'm in Israel and may have to run to a bomb shelter in a moment, but this is super interesting, and my dream is to someday do one of your tours. Gila, my entire support is with you and your country. I'm from Ukraine. I know what bomb shelter is. The recording will be available. We will send it to your email. We will upload what we have here on our YouTube channel, and we will share it with you. So yeah, take care.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Barbara Follett is asking, you mentioned in the material that we download right with GPS instructions onto our phone or device, but I think you also said we should print out instructions. This seems like an unwieldy amount of paper for me to print and carry with me overseas. Could you please clarify the printed instructions? Thanks. I never
Yeah,
print them actually. Sorry, guys.
yeah, I mean, so the printed instructions essentially contain the cues which are already in the Rider GPS stage track, which you will have downloaded on your smartphone or GPS device. And so those are, you can also listen to those as you're riding, like as an audio cue. The reality, we have some people, some participants who just really love having those on paper and will print them beforehand. And so, they will do so and bring them. But I think even for themselves, maybe they like to read them in paper format, the evening before. But for actually navigating during the day, most helpful aspect is your actual device that you're using for navigating. So you don't absolutely have to print them. Yeah, it's up to you. Some people do like to, but the main navigational tool is your actual device you're using, and then having an external battery with you so that it doesn't die on the road, and then you have no navigation. So that's another thing we talk about before tours as well.
Yeah, and from my side, I'd like to add that right with GPS, even for the newbie, is very comfortable and easy to use. He will figure it out like within just one day. Just do it one day at least before the tour starts, and you'll definitely enjoy using it. Brian Daphne is asking, I believe the Morocco tour would be a good first TDA tour for me to join. I do not speak Arabic or French. How much of an issue will this be for immersion in the tour?
Michael, do you want to take a turn?
Yeah, I mean, I do speak French, but I don't think that would be an issue in this day and age with all the translation apps that you can get. The Morocco, they're used to tourists there. Probably a lot of them don't speak Arabic or French, so I don't think it would be fun. And half the fun of meeting some of the local people is to try and communicate without being able to speak the local language.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the vast majority of our trips, I mean, we go through so many different, different languages along our tours, and the vast majority of our participants do not speak, all those different languages that we pass through, and that is part of the, attraction and interest and curiosity in a way is, and figuring out small things along the way. But our staff are dealing with the larger sort of, logistical arrangements. So it's mostly just like, how you're ordering a Coca-Cola at the shop, or going to, do a bit of shopping here and there and whatnot.
Guys, and overall, could you please share your comments about or advice about the first tour with TDA? What would be your advice? What would be the best tour to do with TDA as a newbie? Because Brian brought up Morocco, and Craig is bringing up pub ride as something first to try. What are your comments? I would say for me, it's Orient Express. It's a very good tour to start with the TDA.
Yeah.
Well,
good.
I like
Go
beer,
ahead.
so I would vote for the pub ride. I think he's got it down correctly.
I think they're both good answers. I would just add that you don't have to start in the touring category and work your way up to expedition. Many people, actually, most of our first-time clients, hear about us because of the Tour d'Afrique. So that's often people's first experience with us. But for me, I have some personal favorites. I really like the Silk Route, and Morocco I've been to once, but I haven't participated in that tour. That's another one that, from what I've heard, is a really fascinating tour and really good challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's really, dependent on your interests and your, definitely have found that, I mean, there's interesting cultural and historical and elements, you know, and cuisine for all of the trips, but definitely if you have a particular interest in a particular part of the world, that's always a motivation. And yeah, and definitely, you know, my first trip with TDA working was Tour d'Afrique, and I know, you know, Michael's experience first trip was Tour d'Afrique, and yeah, that's a good eye opener for first trip too. So yeah.
And how about Morocco? Is it a good tour to start with?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's also not it's not too long versus some of the other trips. You know, it's a great full tour type trip to start with. If someone is, you know, if it's not realistic to spend 4 months on the road or something. So and it's yeah, it's a bit. I mean, I've done a part of the trip, and that was the scenery was amazing, and the food is great, and the cycling is on some, yeah, beautiful roads. So overall, so yeah, I think it's a great one.
Yeah, my first TDA tour was Viva Italia, and though it was a lots of climbing, and I was struggling first days, mostly walking, but you get adjusted very quickly, and that was an amazing experience. And as of now, I don't see any more questions. I will share. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. There was one in the chat I wasn't sure we caught. It's Philip asked how much mechanical bike repair experience
Yeah,
is
that
needed.
was in the very beginning. We started with this.
I
Yeah,
wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
I did. I was. Oh, no, one more. For the Silk Route, how many people are using Diamox for the high altitude?
That's, yeah, not something we know exactly, but we do have, like, we have for that tour as well as our South American tour, we send out a bulletin to all the registered riders regarding cycling at altitude, and we mention, you know, the medication possibility, and to speak to your doctor about that and get a prescription in advance and bring it with you as well. Just some, you know, strategies around staying hydrated. Not high altitude is not the best place to say drink a bit more beer than you may normally drink, or like just to, you know, be extra sort of cautious with, you know, listening to your own body and resting if necessary. And but yeah, so we don't know exactly how many people have taken the medication during there, but we would just recommend for sure having it. And then during the tour, like, our tour medic is there, and then they are also able to, you know, discuss on the ground with you in terms of how you're feeling, or helping advise whether to take it or not.
I was on one of our tours in the Himalayas, which is high altitude as well recently, and just anecdotally, I know at least just from conversations that probably half the group had brought a prescription for Diamox, and we're going to use it from time to time if they need it, and after like consulting with our medic. So yeah, it's just best to speak to your doctor about that, but that's a very common one that people bring for high altitude.
Okay, I think we don't have any more questions as of now, but we still have two small slides that I prepared for you. If anything pops up, guys, just feel free to, you know that you know what to do, where to put your question. So what's next I'd like to share is contact of Michael Koo. He's our customer support manager. As soon as you register for the tour, he will be in touch with you and answering all your tour related questions and guiding you through any fears or concerns that you might have, with the addition to our bulletins and info session for each tour that we host roughly 1 or 2 months before the tour starts. But if you don't have his contact, please write it down. This is your first point of contacts with all your questions, and we make sure to answer all of them. Also, please we do a very good job with the blogs. If you ever have any questions, you may even start Googling it, just add in your question TDA Global Cycling, and you will definitely find some useful blogs to address, I think, mostly all of the questions connected with the tours on our website. Also, we have an Instagram account or Facebook who's more comfortable with it. In case you just want to see what the tour is like, we try to show our real life here through interviews with our riders, to showing our crew, to addressing some of the main questions, and just seeing the epic sceneries that you're riding through. So please make sure to follow us. And if you're not comfortable with the social media, we have amazing newsletter, which you can also subscribe and receive the updates of new tours, some touring advice, and a lot of useful information. So we do our best to cover all the questions, to address your concerns, so you may make your decision to join one of our wonderful adventures. And I'll be circling out here. I'll be finishing our info session. Thank you very much for everyone who stayed, who signed up for this event, and who asked lots of great questions. And yeah, thanks I'm reading from the web chat. Thanks very much for all the information. Kind regards, Rutger. Thank you very much. I hope that we covered something useful for you that will nudge you to sign up for TDA tours. And yeah, we'll stay in touch. And we're always happy to hope to raise a pint with you on the pub ride in 27. Michael, that's definitely about you.
Right on.
Sounds good.
Right. Oh, one more. Your videos are amazing. I haven't been on the pop tour yet, but I already want to sign up for another. That's amazing, guys. That means that we're doing something very right. Thank you for all kind words. That really inspires us to do more. So we'll see you. We'll keep in touch and have fun. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks to all. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.